So we start now. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari
Jai Gopi Janavallabha Girivarar Hari
Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Brajana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Brajana Ranjana
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamunati
Natira Vanachari
Yamunatiravanachari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Prabhu
Prabhu
Nityananda Shri Advaita
Gadadhara Shivasadi
Divasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya
Jai
Shri
Shri
Krishna Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Prabhu
Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktavinda
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Krishna
Krishna Krishna
Hare Hare
Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Hare
Rama
Rama, Hare Rama, Rama
Rama
Rama,
Hare
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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada
Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada
Hare.
Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada
Prabhupada Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada
Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Parivra Jagatacharya Suttara Shishimadi Sivankris A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai
Jai,
Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai
Jai,
Gaura Premanandi
Hari Hari Bol,
All glories to the assembled devotees Hare
Hare Krishna,
glories to the assembled devotees Hare
Hare Krishna,
All glories to the assembled devotees Hare
Hare Krishna,
Glories, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gaurav Srila Prabhupada Ki
Jai,
Vishnu Pada Krishna 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 Goswanti Namani Namo Vishnu Pada Krishna 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 Bhakti Vedanta Swanti Namani Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschata Desatarine Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Namo
Om
Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Vasudevaya,
Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayan Namaskritya,
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Deva Narottamam,
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswati Vyasam,
Tato Jayamudiraya
Tato Jayam
Nasta Prayasu Abhadreshu
अष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
सेवया
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
भगवति
भगवति उत्तमश्लोके
उत्तमश्लोके
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी
Hare Krishna everyone. Today,
हरे कृष्ण
Hare Krishna. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, the creation of the fourth order, Chapter 25, the descriptions of the characteristics of King Puranjana. We are reading, continuing with text 21. Panchashishahina Guptam
पञ्चशीलहीनगुप्तम्
पञ्चाशीलहीनगुप्तम्
Panchashishashina Guptam
पञ्चशीलाशहीनगुप्तम्
पञ्चशीलहीनगुप्तम्
Pratiharena Sarvataha
प्रतिहारेण
प्रतिहारेण
सर्वतः
सर्वतः
प्रतिहारेण सर्वतः
प्रतिहारेण सर्वतः
सर्वतः
अन्विषमाणां ऋषभम्
अन्वेषमाणां
अन्वेषामानां
वृषभम्
अन्विषमाणां ऋषभम्
अन्वेषामाणां
अन्वेषमाणां ऋषभम्
वृषभाम्
अन्वेषमाणां
अप्रोदं कामरूपिणीम्
अप्रोधां
अप्रदां
कामरूपिणीम्
कामरूपिणीम्
रूपिणीम्
अप्रौदां कामरूपिणीम्
अप्रोधां
अप्रदां
कामरूपिणीम्
कामरूपिणम्
पञ्चशीर्षाहिना गुप्ताम्
पञ्चशीर्षहायण
पञ्चशीरसहिनागुप्तम्
गुप्ता
प्रतिहारेण सर्वतः
प्रतिहारेण
प्रतिहारेण
सर्वतः
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 अन्वेषमाणां वृषभम्
अन्वेषमाणां
अन्वेषमाणां
वेश्यमाणां ऋषभम्
वृषभम्
वृषभम्
अप्रौदां कामरूपिणीम्
अप्रोधां कामरूपिणीम्
अप्रदां
Please chant.
पञ्चशीरसहिना गुप्ताम्
पञ्चशीर्षाहिना
प्रतिहारेण सर्वतः
प्रतिहारेण
प्रतिहारेण
सर्वतः
सर्वतः
अन्वेषमाणां वृषभम्
अन्वेषमाणां
अन्वेषमाणां
वृषभम्
ऋषभम्
अप्रौदां कामरूपिणीम्
अप्रोधां
अप्रोधां
कामरूपिणीम्
कामरूपिणीम् पञ्चशीर्षहिना गुप्ताम्
पञ्चशीरसहिना
पञ्चशीर्षाहिनागुप्ताम्
प्रतिहारेण सर्वतः
प्रतिहारेण सर्वतः
अन्वेषमाणां ऋषभम्
अन्वेषमाणां वृषाम्
अप्रोढां कामरूपिणीम्
अप्रौदां
अप्रोधां कामरूपिणीम्
कामरूपिणीम्
हरे कृष्ण
पञ्च
पञ्च
पञ्च बाल
शीर्ष
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 heads
हेड्स्
heads
ahina
अहीना
अहिना
by a snake
बाय
by
by
स्नेक
snake
guptam
गुप्तां
Gupta
protected
प्रोटेक्टेड
protected
pratiharena
प्रतिहारेण
प्रतिहारेण
by a bodyguard
बाय
by
by a
बॉडीगार्ड
bodyguard
bodyguard
sarvataha
सर्वतः
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 all around
all
all
around
around
anveshamanam
अन्वेषमाणां
अन्वेषमाणां
one who is searching after
one
one
who is
who is
searching
searching
after
after
rishabam
Rishabham,
a husband
a
a
husband,
husband
apraudam
Aprodam,
not very old
not very
not
old,
very old
kamarupinim
Kamarupini,
Kamarupini
very attractive to fulfill lusty desires.
very attractive to fulfill lusty
lusty
desires.
desires.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada Ki Jai.
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 The woman was protected on all sides by a five-hooded snake. She was very beautiful and young, and she appeared very anxious to find a suitable husband. Please repeat. The woman was protected
The woman was protected
Woman was
on all
protected
sides by a five-hooded snake.
on
on
all
all
sides
sides
by
by
a
a five-hooded
five-hooded
snake.
snake.
She was very beautiful and young,
She
She
was
was very
very
beautiful
beautiful
and
and
young,
young,
and she appeared very anxious
and she
and she appeared
appeared
very
very
anxious
anxious
to find a suitable husband.
to find a
to
suitable
find a
husband.
suitable husband.
Purport. The vital force of a living entity includes the 5 kinds of air working within the body, which are known as prana, apana, vyana, samana, and udana. The vital force is compared to a serpent because a serpent can live by simply drinking air. The vital force carried by the air is described as the pratihara or the bodyguard. Without the vital force, one cannot live for a moment. Indeed, all the senses are working under the protection of the vital force. The woman who represents intelligence was searching after a husband. This indicates that intelligence cannot act without consciousness. A beautiful woman is useless unless protected by the proper husband. Intelligence must always be very fresh. Therefore, the word apraudam, very young, is used here. Material enjoyment means utilizing the intelligence for the sake of rupa, rasa, gandha, shabda, and sparsha or form, taste, smell, sound, and touch. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Sanmritamena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Mukam Karati Vachalam Pangum Nagayate Gurum Yad Kripadamam Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Paramananda Madhav Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sodhika Vadodaya Pushwanta Chitra Sandhavatamonada. Once again, Panchashishahina Guptam Pratiharena Sarvataha Anveshamanam Rishabam Apraudam Kamarupinim. Translation: The woman was protected on all sides by a 5-hooded snake. She was very beautiful and young, and she appeared very anxious to find a suitable husband. Okay, so here Puranjana is, we can go again and look at all the different terms used. So Puranjana is from the beginning of this discussion. Puranjana represents the conscious self. It's the Atma, it's the spirit soul. The beautiful woman here represents Buddhi or intelligence. So then, according to our philosophy of Krishna consciousness, or maybe if you look through the Bhagavad Purana, you'll find that intelligence is important because it is very suitable material energy. It can help you discriminate the differences. With good, proper intelligence, one can know what is right and what is wrong. Now, even nowadays, you can see machines, right? AI. Where is the intelligence coming from? So it's a material energy. You can put all the rules, and then it seems to be intelligence. Yeah? So according to the rules, it appears intelligence. So similarly, our intelligence also is subtle material energy, but it also has this discriminatory thing. But it can go wrong, it can do right also. But it is under our control, or supposed to be under our control. Otherwise, it is useless. And then the attraction between this king, Puranjana, and the queen, which is the conscious self and the intelligence, is the root of embodied consciousness. So when we are in the body, we use this intelligence to identify the conscious self with the body, because the intelligence is identifying with the body. And that's why it is the root of the embodiment. And the king, he has his own conscious self, basically because he is a soul. So soul has its own non-material sensory capability also. But this is sleeping. You can say dormant, like a volcano not yet erupting. So as long as he is entangled with this kind of intelligence, material intelligence, his true self cannot manifest. Okay, so here the queen allows Puranjana, this Atma, to enjoy the body. Well, the intelligence is used to enjoying the city of 9 gates. Remember, we read earlier on. Now, so you can again say the analogy of a computer. So you can say Puranjana represents the user who's using it. The city is the computer, city of 9 gates. And the queen is the software, the intelligence behind the hardware, so that you can interface with the hardware. It's a software, otherwise it's useless. The laptop, it's the software, the operating system or whatever, makes it very easy for us to interact with that. And we use it for so many purposes, looking here, looking at videos, looking at websites, trying to file something, income tax, or get a recipe and so on. So you can use the intelligence through the body to get what you want. Basically, what we are looking for is sense enjoyment. So that's what it is. So therefore, here it says the queen is not alone. She's accompanied by the serpent with the 5 heads. And early on, we also read she's accompanied by bodyguards. So there are 11 bodyguards. That means 5 working senses, 5 knowledge acquiring senses, and the mind. So altogether is 11, right? So the knowledge acquiring senses are senses of sight, smell, uh, taste, hearing, and touching. So through that you can figure out. You smell something, you understand where it's coming from. It's not nice, or it's fantastic. It smells good, like that. Similarly, you look at something, you understand if there's a smoke, you know something's burning, or it's just somebody is blowing some gas or something like that. So things like that. Uh, and the working senses, those are functional, that can move this embodied city of 9 gates from one place to another. So walking, you can touch and do things. So you got the hands, and then you have speaking. We can communicate, and then reproduction and cleansing, evacuation, like that. But all these 10 senses that we have, or the working and the knowledge required, are centered around the mind. Okay, centered around the mind. And therefore they are considered, according to this understanding of the Bhagavad, the pastimes of this, and allegory. That's right. The allegory by Narada Muni shows us that all the senses are on the mind, and they are servants of the mind. And then each of these servants, as we read earlier, has hundreds of wives. Okay, you can interchange. The servant is a man this time, but you can change. The servants can be women, and hundreds of husbands, like that. So the wives represent desires for material enjoyment or material experience, and the senses act under these desires, right? So then the mind is always a repository of different desires, right? All of a sudden you think, oh, I want ice cream, and you run out on a cold winter day. Because the mind is controlling, and the senses will say, okay. So then the knowledge and the working senses will say, we can walk. The intelligence will say, yeah, walk this way, go this way, you can purchase it. So the senses are therefore compared in this allegory as servants or attendants of the queen. And all the senses are always bringing information to the queen, and the queen acts on those information. Huh? And then we enjoy, or we become distressed or unhappy. And they all formed from a subtle but material energy. Actually, all these are subtle energies that are moving. We cannot see it, but they are subtle energies that are transmitting information to the soul in the heart. Yeah. And it's through, we will come to that, through this 5 primary air and 5 secondary airs, prana and so on. So therefore, together, all of them work together, and therefore we can have the sense of who we are, right? Based on all these senses, how we do work. Oh, I am so and so. This is what I'm doing. And so this is the same way the king, he become entrenched. That means this is very strong, and therefore he identifies. That's what he means by entranced, you know, enchanting. He's enchanted by his own intelligence, his own abilities, and he's thinking, I'm so good, I'm so horrible, I'm so this, I'm so that, like that. And that's the ego coming in to identify with the body, false ego. Now, the body itself is just material, no? Earth, water, fire, air, ether, combination of all that, plus the three gunas, different portions of three gunas, and you have different types of body. Heavenly body, you get the material, earthly body, or you get hellish body. So, three gunas, based on the three gunas. So the combination of the three gunas combined among themselves becomes 9, combined by itself becomes 27, combined itself 81, and in that way it combines into 8.4 million species. Okay, so and and therefore it is so gross. It is manipulated by the ordinary gravity physical laws of this world, because it's not on the subtle level, it's coming out as gross. So even chemicals will hurt us or will be favorable. So both chemical as well as physical laws of this world affects the gross body a lot. Okay, and and how is this body energy, how is it powered? Of course, it's what you eat, and then it's digested, and from the digestion the prana is removed. The nutrition and all gives prana, and it is empowered in the region of the heart. Whenever you digest, everything goes in the blood and digested. It comes to the heart region before it's pumped to other places. So that's where the super soul and the soul are. Okay, so the the 5 airs and subtle, as you can say, according to Ayurveda, prana, apana, vayana, vyana, samana, and udana. So here in this allegory, they comprise the prana is the vital force, prana. Okay, and it is represented by the 5-headed serpent. Then they control the mind. When you control this air, you can control the mind. That is why they use pranayama, yoga, in hatha yoga and so on, asanas, and then they do pranayama, atyahara, and so on. And so the mind is controlled, and then you can focus for going back to God here. That's the goal of practicing yoga like that. So yeah, yeah, the whole idea is to do pranayama to control. Now, within these 5 airs, as I said, prana, apana, vyana, samana, and udana is the 5 airs are moving, and in the middle is the soul. The soul, and the Paramatma is next to the soul. And the influence basically is the desire of the living entity, the Atma, that is spread through this air throughout the body. You're feeling, but it is sanctioned by the Paramatma. Upadrasta mantascha Bharta Bhakta Maheshwara. So he's the overseer, the permitter. Uh, so he's allowing us to influence our body by his sanction. So this happens to all living entities. So when the soul, all of us, when we become purified from the contamination of this 5 kinds of material air, we are always purifying it through spiritual activities. There's different levels of purification. Materially, you purify and then you become pious. Yeah. But if you do spiritual activities, you become spiritualized. So that's the difference. Now, there's also, as I mentioned earlier, 5 primary air. There's also 5 secondary air, and they are known as, Prabhupada gives it in the, I think it's in the 3rd canto, Naga, Kurma, Krikala, uh, Devadatta, and Dhananjaya. The names are like that. So the life has energy for all living beings. Sometimes you use it properly, it's religious. Sometimes you use that energy to do irreligious activities. So that's how everyone is. The reason why we do irreligious activities is because we don't know what the goal of life is. Nate viduswatagatim hi Vishnu, right? Durashaye bahir artha manina. He's not sure how to use his life. So he goes through these senses and then he's trying to enjoy. Because he doesn't know what is right and wrong, he will become sinful. Yeah, not knowing the ultimate goal of life. And therefore, if he knows what is one's true self-interest, our self-interest is to reconnect with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We have to practice so that we awaken our forgotten relationship. Okay, and that's the whole idea about devotional practices. Is to awaken this forgotten relationship. The relationship is always there. Our propensity to love God is always there, but we have forgotten. But through proper practice, or rather through sadhana bhakti process, you are able to awaken it. Now, this air is controlled through, as I mentioned earlier, through the pranayam. It's part of the hatha yoga system. And how do you do it? Different postures, lotus position, this position, that position, standing on head, all kinds of postures. But the interesting thing is when you start controlling this life as in your body, it also has a secondary effect. The primary effect is for going back to Godhead. That's the goal. But over generations and lifetimes of different people and the contamination of knowledge, people now go for the secondary effect, which is like siddhis, all kinds of power, prapti, anima, lagima, all kinds of potency. And they want to do that and they like that. They think, and because they identify with their body and the fact that they can get this siddhi, they incorrectly come to, some of them incorrectly come to the conclusion that they are God. Because the philosophy is not properly understood, and every Tom, Dick, and Harry goes around saying he is God. So now when he has power, he's thinking, I am God. I am God. I can control. So it is this hatha yoga process system is not meant for material profit, not at all. But it's actually for liberating ourselves from this conditioned state. Once you control all of that, you come to Brahma Bhuta platform, where the material energy cannot touch you. Then you perform pure devotional service. That's the point you do pure devotional. Otherwise, you're doing mixed devotional service, or you're just doing sadhana bhakti, which is mixed modes, and so on. Okay. So the senses we have, they interact with the sense objects. That means what we like to enjoy. The eyes like to see something beautiful. The nose wants to smell something different. Everything wants to do, and it may not be favorable for us. And the hand wants to touch. So a lusty man will want to touch a lusty a woman, and a lusty woman wants to touch a lusty man. Things like that, and so they're all engaged, but as you can see, the engagement is not internal. It's not the soul. The engagement is external. So we touch the chair, table, the laptops, and things like that. So it's all external, and we are trying to get some enjoyment out of those external things. And that's not who we are. We are spiritual. The external environment is not material. And so therefore, although we see some enjoyment, it is actually truly incompatible enjoyment. It's not meant for that. And these are the functions of the the prana vayu. This is what is happening in our body. Now, Prabhupada also explains that the apana vayu goes downwards. So when you eat, the apana vayu is strong, then it brings the food down to the stomach. If it's not strong, then the udana vayu will push it up. Then you have belching and you have indigestion or heartburn and stuff like that. And then sometimes after digestion, the air, the vyana vayu helps it to shrink, take out the nutrition and starts to shrink it down. And then sometimes it puts in other things, it brings others to expand also. That's the nature of that. So in the digestion process or within our body, you do muscle exercises, the vayu goes there and then they expand. So you got big muscles. And if you don't exercise the vayu, the same vayu takes away that muscle and it shrinks like that. Yeah. And then if there's inequilibrium in the body, the samana vayu, it makes everything equilibrium, right? Sometimes you get a headache because the vata in the head is imbalanced. So the samana vayu comes there to, when you take a Panadol or something, and then it tries to make it in equilibrium. Yeah, so when you are enlightened, you can use all this prana and all this, all this power based on the control of the air to bring the Atma, Jivatma, all the way, which you see in the sixth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that he can bring it through the chakras, right? From the base of your spine, you can bring the chakra all the way up to the top, and you can break through here. If you know where your destination is and you follow nicely, you can split through your body and go to that destination. You can go back to Godhead also like that. So how do all this movement happen? It starts in the heart where the jiva desires. Prakriti kriyamani gunaye karma sarvasa ahankara vidmatma kartamiti manyute. Although the material energy is what's making us move and so on under the supervision of Krishna, we are thinking, I am doing it. I am doing it. But actually, every movement first generated from the heart. And all the activities of the body are made possible by the senses, actually. And that's what you see. And it's powered. This is the fuel. The power is coming from these 10 airs within the body. Yeah. So it starts with our breathing in, and that is called prana. Prana is very important. Just like if the air, this prana is not in the food, right? In the fruits you buy, the vegetable, then it's not life-giving. Sometimes water, stagnant water, they say, right? Don't drink from stagnant water. Ayurveda says that very clearly. Why? Because the prana in that water is gone after a while. The life force that can give you life. Similarly, fruits, vegetable, and so on. And even when you are speaking, just like I'm speaking, it is coming through my prana. And if my prana is very purified, then if people are hearing, then they'll get some benefit. Right? And it's better, the best way to get this prana shakti is having in close proximity, sitting and hearing. Through these devices and so on, the prana is not available so effectively. Hopefully the super soul will adjust that. But otherwise you are not getting the potency properly. Yeah. It's interesting, but that's what the Shastra is. The Vachaka must come from it's coming from the heart, from the Jiva who is connecting himself with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So similarly, when we are passing stool, then the air goes through the rectum and then it pushes out. And it's apana vayu like that. And then in the stomach it's adjusting, as I mentioned, for digestion. The samana is digesting and making everything available for used in the body nicely. Yeah. So then the total air in the body is Vyana. Throughout the body that's circulating is Vyana air. Okay? Yeah. So all these are generated from the center of the heart. And there's only one. one heart. I don't think people have two hearts, but anyway, there's only one. Yeah. This central energy is superior energy of the Lord, actually. Yeah. As a jiva, we have our consciousness throughout, but that which is helping the body and the energy that's coming is according to our karma, past life. Sarvasyam chaham riti sanniviso matasmiti jnanam aponam sa. Right? So, based on that, sometimes we remember, sometimes we forget the knowledge, sometimes he gives us the understanding also. So it is important to understand that it is from the Lord, all these things, based on our desires and karma. Sometimes you study so hard, you go to exam and you cannot even remember what you study. Because your karma is maybe at the level where you're not supposed to do well in the exam. And then some others have amazing memory because their karma from previous life or whatever, and so they get the blessings of the Supreme Lord. They can remember everything. So it's amazing how this Lord's energy can function. So the complete central potency is generated from the heart by the Lord. So we have to understand that. And he helps the conditioned soul in remembering and forgetting. So if you want to be sinful, then he says, fine, you forget my relationship. Yeah. If you want to see me as enemy, that is good, And so we fight, So therefore, the soul's forgetfulness of his relationship of the that he is a servant of the Lord is also covered. He's completely covered, and therefore he thinks I am a controller. Why? Because he's part and parcel of Krishna, and therefore he has similar feelings, enjoyment. He is Purusha. He is supposed to be the most enjoyed, but we are not Purushas. We are Prakriti, actually. We're supposed to give him enjoyment. But this understanding in the conditioned state is not available for us because of all these coverings. On top of this covering of the body and the air and so on, the material energy is also covering. What is that? Avaranadmika Shakti, Pashetpadmika Shakti. One will cover and bewilder us, the other one will make you forget. So you study, oh, I'm this servant of Krishna, but then after a few days you forget. Or you are suffering and then you say, I should be very serious in Krishna consciousness. And then you do the first day very seriously chanting. Second day, a little serious. Third day, you are not so serious. Fourth day, you forget. These are affected by the material energy. It is so alluring that you will put your faith in that bewildering energy rather than the Supreme Personality of Godhead's energies, particularly through sadhana bhakti. We give it up. And therefore, they intend to work hard to be successful in spiritual life is not manifested in many of us when we perform. Why? Because we continuously allow our nature, the spirit soul, to be polluted by the material energy. We allow that. We ourselves allow that. And by allowing it, we identify through false ego our body, material body again, and we forget our relationship. And therefore, we have many desires. Bahu sakahi anantascha, and then avyavasayinam. So he doesn't have that focus in him. He has too many desires in the mind. Therefore, the ability to focus, aka Kuru Nandana, is not possible. Therefore, Krishna says we cannot have all these material things attacking us. Material desires shouldn't be attacking us. Rather, everything should be centered around Krishna's satisfaction. And then you can have only one pointedness. And otherwise, we are bewildered. So many activities we want to, instead of wanting pure consciousness, we become contaminated consciousness. And so we pursue like this. So Prabhupada mentions in many parts of the Bhagavatam that the individual needs to dovetail his propensities. Sure, it's difficult to practice. And we find a lot of devotees who may start off excited, but after a few years they give up because we are allowing ourselves to be contaminated. But still, Srila Prabhupada said we should dovetail. What does it dovetailing means? That whatever propensity, whatever we have materially, we use it in the service of Krishna. Whatever little we try, eventually it will lead to a greater satisfaction. Eventually it will lead us back to Godhead. But we have to start somewhere. It has to be practice. We cannot just do it once and then stop. No, practice means daily. Just like to be successful, the Olympic athletes, how much they train. And they are regulated in their training. So similarly, our sadhana bhakti should be regulated and we should practice. Practice trying to reconnect with our lost relation with Krishna. And that's most important. And that's why you see Krishna also telling Arjuna, how you do it, you have to surrender. Sarvadharma parityajya mam ekam sharanam praja. If you surrender to me, then you will dedicate your actions to me. Otherwise, you will not dedicate. That is surrender, actually. We don't seem to understand what surrender is, but every action we do for Krishna is surrender. The less you do, then the less surrendered you are. So here we see even in the Bhagavad Gita, right? That's what he says. That Arjuna, who's an individual, he's told, now you dovetail everything to me. Yeah, you're fighting to me, the results to me. If you're successful, you tell Krishna, Krishna, this is your grace that I am successful. It is not my doing at all. I'm functioning nimitta matrena. I am your instrument. That's all. You kindly use me for the good of mankind, and then I want to go back and eternally serve you. That's the whole point, our whole Krishna consciousness. So material enjoyment means utilizing the intelligence for the sake of, Prabhupada writes in this purport, right? Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, Shabda, and Sparsha. Or in another sense, form, taste, smell, sound, and touch. So what does it mean? It means the taste of this material fruits is accepted through the five senses. That's how we are enjoying it. So they are also subjected to 6 kinds of suffering. And what are they? Lamentation, illusion, not having the ability to do things, death, hunger, and thirst. So if you go through these senses to survive alive materially, we experience all these things. So now you can understand to somewhat why when yogis withdraw, they close off all this, and they don't even need to eat, drink, nothing. Yeah, because it's dependent on these senses. Yeah, the jiva atma doesn't need it. So as long as the prana is around the jiva and is purified, he doesn't need. He's in connection with the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, we suffer so much lamentation through our activities. We are dealing in the material energy because everything here is temporary. And therefore, all these things happen. Even something that we like and we are so dear, our family members, after a few years, they are gone. Goodbye. So we use these senses differently. We are meant to use this senses. So our eyes, we look at the form of the deities, right? Our tongue, we take prasadam, right? With our hearing, we hear Krishna Katha, Krishna Kirtan, like that. With our hands, we touch the deities, the form of the deities, or we also touch the devotees, hug the devotees and so on. So deity worship is strongly recommended for the grihastas, so that by doing deity worship, they can ultimately control their senses very nicely. They can have more connection with the Supreme Lord. So it's very nice. Although, for example, even when we are sleeping, the prana may be inactive. But no, I mean the prana is still active. Yeah, when we are sleeping or whatever, still the prana is actively moving. And Prabhupada writes in one purport that up to the age of 50, the prana is very strong. Then after that, he says the prana gets weaker and weaker. And he says you can do some exercises and so on to be more stronger, increase the prana. But he says mostly it will last only another 2, 3, 4 years. So therefore, he says up to 55, one can work physically. After that, he says one should retire. And interestingly, you see, in the old days, the retirement was 55. I remember many years ago, my father had to retire when he was 55. But nowadays, they moved it up to what in Australia? 65. 65, 10 years. Why? Because the government wants to exploit. That's all. Once you become older, they will say, we can fire you, you have to take less pay, but you should do the same work. So 55 is where your prana is the last hold to your young youth. And Srila Prabhupada also mentions the old age starts when you turn 60. And interestingly, I have a doctor friend, and he was saying that from statistics, people who are the 60s is the most difficult age, he says. Most of the problems they experience is in the 60s, he said. In the 70s, they already old, not so much problems come. But he said serious problems happens in the 60s, he said. Yeah. So he said generally if the patient goes through 60s without too much problem, then they can live long, But if they so much problem, their lifespan is shortened. And so here the same thing, the energy, the prana becomes fatigued after 50 years. And then just like the serpent with fire hood, the serpent cannot hold its hood up. Just like Kaliya serpent, Krishna dance, he has to put his hood down. So in the same way, our prana becomes weak, and eventually we have to give up this body. But because of the unfortunately, our leaders, country in the world, they don't have spiritual knowledge, so they land into corruption. And not only that, the real, true Vedic knowledge is already corrupted by so many so-called yogis and sadhus and mahagurus, Jagat gurus, and so on. Why they want to exploit the people? They are greedy, cheap labor, so many things. So unfortunately, society is structured in such a way that you cannot actually retire peacefully and chant and go back to Godhead. But if you're intelligent, you plan your life now, make your plan now to become Krishna consciousness. You cannot say, I'm going to earn $6.25 million and then I'll retire. Nonsense. It doesn't work. By the time you earn 6.25 million, you'll be 70 years old or something. And not only that, the government will increase the tax and everything. And then they'll say, if you have so much asset, you will have to pay so much. They'll pass laws like that and you have no control. So why believe in all these crazy people, Just plan wherever you are, just plan to even if you have to just rent a home or what, don't go out and work and so on. Practice Krishna conscious, go to the temple, do as much service, and at the time of death, Krishna or Gauranitai will come and take you and back to Godhead, because you have given your life. Yeah. If not, then this is what will happen, you'll be under the control of these crazy people, and then your mind is disturbed, the prana is disturbed, then every air in your body is disturbed, and you have to go and see a doctor for all kinds of medication, and none of the medicine will work. Because ultimately we have to die, No medicine is going to save us. The only medicine is chanting Hare Krishna and Prasadam. Okay, I stop here. Comments, questions? Yeah. Right.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Very nice class. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mahendra. Anyone else?
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hmm. I guess you all know what the the whole thing is. Anyway, thank you for coming online and attending also. I see so many of you there, so it's very nice. It also encourages me to speak. So no questions. Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
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 Gaura Pramanandi.
Hari
Hare
Bol.
His Grace Radha Krishna Prabhuji ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.